Some of your favorite comedians are for sale, and they just proved it by performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. I am holding in my hand a contract from that festival where 50 of the top comics came to perform. And when I read what it has to say, you'll gain a whole new appreciation for their hypocrisy, our country, and hopefully for the God that made America a great nation. Welcome to the show. My name is Uberman. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And today on the show, I'm going to try to give Christian commentary to cultural events because we're living in an age of bad ideas, and the only cure for bad ideas are good ideas, and the best ideas are found in God's Word. And I'm going to hammer that point home today, especially as we look at these comedians that just went to Saudi Arabia to perform there while they decry America when they're here. Now, before we get there, I need to make sure that you know that today's show is sponsored by our friends over at Sweet and Savory. Sweet and Savory is your one-stop shop for online or in-person cooking class experiences. Now, if you've never taken a cooking class before, you're probably a horrible cook, and you need to repent of that, and you need to bless your children or your friends or whoever you're cooking for, even yourself, and you need to do yourself a favor. And you need to go to attend a class at Sweet and Savory. You can do that online or in person. All you have to do is go to sweetandsavoryclassroom.com, scroll through a list of the different options that they have for you, and then pick a class, stream that class, or go in person to be a part of one of the most entertaining and fun-filled nights that you've ever had, where you'll learn to cook some of the most amazing food. So go to sweetandsavoryclassroom.com, and when you check out, use the promo code IndieThinker for a discount on your order. While Bill Maher is totally wrong about many things, not the least of which is Christianity, I still have to give him some credit. He is willing to call out hypocrisy on his side when he sees it. And he did just recently call out Dave Chappelle when he was speaking to Louis C.K. on his show, because Dave Chappelle had the audacity to say that he is freer to speak in Saudi Arabia, the Islamic Republic of Saudi Arabia, more so than in America. Here's that clip.
Dave Chappelle said that it was in the press today saying that you can speak more freely over here than in America.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
Oh, it's not true.
No.
Yeah,
No.
Do your hunk on Muhammad, Dave.
Well, he's a Muslim, David.
I understand.
So it depends on who you are and what you want to talk about. Now, if you go there, there's a pre-decide, like there's the thing you buy into. Do you want to work here? Then don't talk about these two things.
Now, couple of things for house cleaning here. The reason that Dave Chappelle is not doing his Muhammad bit in Saudi Arabia is not because it is freer there than it is in America, but it is because he fears for his life. There's maybe a modicum of wisdom, if not spinelessness, also in that response. But Dave Chappelle did indeed say that it is freer to speak there than it is in America. Well, that's funny, Dave, because I've got the contract for the comedy festival right here. And actually it says, artists shall not prepare or perform any material that may be considered to degrade, defame, or bring into public disrepute, contempt, scandal, embarrassment, or ridicule the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, including its leadership, public figures, culture, or people, the Saudi royal family, legal system, or government. C, any religion, religious tradition, religious figure, or religious practice. Now, I think we all know that based upon what you just heard, that contract clearly shows that there isn't freedom going on at this comedy festival, but actually an indictment against anybody who wants to say anything about them. Now, they can say whatever they want to about Donald Trump and America and, of course, Christianity, but don't you say a dang thing about Muhammad, or else.
The Christian faith is about love, faith, hope, and love. The Islamic cult is a death cult founded by a warmongering pedophile.
That's how great and free it is over there. But of course, we all know this is true. So unfortunately, let me justify some of this with some basic facts that I think we all know. According to the Cato Institute, Saudi Arabia holds the 155th position out of 165 countries for restrictions on personal and economic freedoms. According to Freedom House, the country received a score of 9 out of 100, with 1 for political rights and 8 for civil liberties. One of the biggest issues, and this is according to AP News, is the suppression and dissent of free speech. So peaceful activists, writers, and human rights defenders have been arbitrarily arrested, detained, and in some cases tortured. Also, use of torture and ill treatment has been highlighted by the AP, stating that detainees have reported torture methods like electrocution, flogging, hanging, sexual harassment, and other things during interrogations. Also, we should talk about women's rights in Saudi Arabia. Women who have campaigned for rights in Saudi Arabia have been arrested and detained and sometimes labeled as traitors. Another thing that you should know is that forced marriage is kind of a thing in Saudi Arabia, and young girls of the age of 13 and 14 can be forced to marry an adult man, provided that they have reached puberty. And of course, all of these leftists love unfettered immigration, but you should know that Saudi Arabia has been in particularly accused of some shocking things, including the systematic killing of Ethiopian migrants and torture and the R word and abuses of these migrants. So not the greatest place to live. So when Bill Burr comes out and says, they're just like us, I think we know what they actually mean. They want cash and they want it now. But when they're here in America, something else is going on. They're freely talking about America, freely talking about Donald Trump, and freely talking about the faith that made this country great. So here's some of the things they had to say about America. Dave Chappelle in the past has said America is like a terrible girlfriend to the rest of the world because when somebody hurts America, she remembers it forever. Louis C.K. has spoken out about America, and he says that we have white people problems in America. That's where your life is amazing. So you just make stuff up to be upset about. Well, he is right about the fact that we have a bunch of sissified complainers and virtue signals in America, but it has nothing to do with whiteness, trust me. It has much more to do with leftism and has to do with the fact that we live in a prosperous nation and don't know how to give praise and thanks to the one who actually deserves it. But Bill Burr has gone on trashing America, saying on CNN that Fox News is an effing disease and that America needs to address systemic issues rather than blaming marginalized groups. And of course, I think we all know that all of these men have had something to say about Donald Trump. In 2016, Dave Chappelle talked about Donald Trump in his monologue and said he's rooting for Donald Trump because the whole nation depends upon him left and right. But in 2025, in an interview, Dave Chappelle said, I effed up by suggesting the public should give Donald Trump a chance. Louis C.K. called Donald Trump gross, a crook, dirty, rotten, lying sack of, well, you know the rest. And of course, said the guy is Hitler. Bill Burr went on Saturday Night Live to say that Donald Trump is an orange bigot. And these men in the past, like many comedians, have had no problem trashing Christianity. Louis C.K. said, if you believe in God and you're wrong, you don't really have a problem. It gives you a little comfort in your stupid life. And Bill Burr said, I don't believe in that devil stuff you've created. Handle that. Well, thanks. We have. And you'll one day figure out firsthand. So I think we get the point here. They were happy to talk about the nation of America, America's leaders, and the religion that made America great when they were here. But the moment they get to cash a huge check from the Saudi government, all of their morals fly out the window. It's almost like they don't believe any of the crap that they say, but they're just virtue signaling to a leftist audience that will clap instead of laugh because it isn't funny. So why does this matter? Well, I think it's possible that all of these jokes can condition people and give them a certain attitude toward America that is actually quite negative. It can condition the way we think. This is why LGBTQ activists and cross-dressers and transgender people want to get children when they're very young with cartoons because they know that people are shapeable. And the conscience of Americans is shapeable by these people who have large platforms. And so it does concern me that when you constantly denigrate America, but you never are honest about other countries, that there will be an impact. There are consequences to those bad ideas. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to joke about these things. All I'm saying is that it's within my right to suggest that we need to be cognizant of the things that influence and shape our understanding. After all, we have colleges filled with kids who think America is a neo-colonial wasteland because they've never been 1 second outside of Cleveland, Ohio, and they think that LeBron James is king. By the way, he's not. Jordan is.
Stop it. Get some help.
Anyway, it may be another second thing that causes me to talk about this. You know, dunking on America is easy. It doesn't really take a level of intelligence to say that America has committed human rights abuses too and play the moral equivalency game. So no, America is not perfect, but don't be stupid. It is not even close to Saudi Arabia. America is the greatest country on earth because it allows the kind of expression that has permitted you guys to actually be famous and to denigrate this country while doing it. So most important, it's a great opportunity for me to remind you that it is Christianity that made this country great. And that just because you can say something doesn't mean you should say something. The problem with the country that's handed everything to these men is that it's made them incredibly prosperous. And in their opulence and prosperity, they have not taken the time to turn around and say thank you and give gratitude where it is deserved. And before these guys burn the bridge ahead of them so that nobody else can cross it because they want to destroy the thing that's actually given them this great opportunity, I would ask them first to reflect on the past and ask them to think about what has given them this great opportunity to become famous and to use their giftings and their skill to make a name for themselves. Now look, I understand that a lot of comedians think it's really funny to joke about Christianity.
He went to Sunday school in like 1949, you know? I think all of that comes from the church. They just brainwash you.
I'm happy to expose how little comedians actually know about Christianity and how unfunny they can be when they mock the faith. But all I'm saying is that before they get up on stage, they might want to think about the things that has provided them the opportunity to get there. And it isn't just their talent. Christianity made America great. And when you look at a comedy festival in a Muslim country, you can see the stark difference here. It's like emblazoned in a neon light. Christianity has made America a very different country than Saudi Arabia, and thank God for that.
Amazing.
You can disagree with me if you want that America isn't great because of Christianity, but what you cannot deny is that America is great, especially in comparison to Saudi Arabia. And when you finally start acknowledging this reality, you can actually start thinking for yourself and realize, well, Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country, and America is a Christian country. Muslim countries are always on the bottom of the list when it comes to humanitarian rights and the way that they treat their people, and Christian countries are always at the top. Weird.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So once you finally take that little thought journey, it might be time for all of us to wake up to the fact that the faith that provided all of us with prosperity is worthy of praise. So maybe it's time for the spoiled brats in our country to do a comedy special that gives honor where honor is due. And it isn't in Saudi Arabia. Just go look at England or Dearborn, Michigan, where Muslims have taken over. And you tell me if getting woken up at 5:30 in the morning for calls to Muslim prayer or a Muslim mayor telling a Christian pastor that he's not welcome in his own country is actually funny. If you don't want to live in that reality, maybe you should take time to praise the things that are worthy of praise. I just hope you see how bad we need Jesus before we look lightly upon the faith that has given us individual rights, human rights, civil rights, natural law, our jurisprudence, and the belief that all men are created equal.
I mean, where the hell do people think that human rights came from?
Yeah, right.
I mean, these are things that exist on the embers of Christian thought.
While these comedians won't ever joke about Islam, you can have more integrity than all of them. And at least thank God for sending his son to die for all of us. And then we can do one last thing. We can reject all of the ridiculous lies that America is a neo-colonial wasteland and should be absolutely dismantled and deconstructed. And we can get back to realizing there is one religion at the foundation. And if you chip away at that foundation long enough, the structure may not continue to stand. So if you're really not into that kind of being labeled an infidel thing or really not interested in globalizing the intifada, maybe, just maybe, crack open a Bible and give God the glory that he so rightly deserves. All right, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if this show was beneficial to you, you'll love becoming a member over at indiethinker.org/support, where you can gain access to exclusive perks like ebooks, audiobooks, documentaries, movies, and so much more that will help you take your Christian faith to the next level. Don't forget to check out the sponsors down below in the description of this podcast, but most importantly, go with God.